Guys, Dricus du Plessis is defending against Khamzat Chimaev at this weekend, and I'll tell you, there's no better way to turn up that excitement than with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers who bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Stay in on the action. Use your bonus bets in same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Love the thrill of live betting? Because DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and have a shot at cash prizes. This is your chance to get in on the action. Download the DraftKings app. When you sign up, use my code Sonnen. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Jones versus Aspinall. This is just a topic that won't go away. And what's so interesting about it is that nobody cares. I mean, generally when somebody loses interest, it goes away. But if you can ever get a word with Jon Jones, if you pull out a camera at an airport and you can get a few seconds with Jon Jones, there's nothing else to talk to him about. There's no conversation to be had. It's just you versus Aspinall. Like there is no other topic. So as bad as the views are, and as low of hanging fruit as it is, you must understand, if you have access to Tom or to Jon, you still have to ask them that, right? I mean, right. Your other thing is you ask Jon about getting boozed up and driving around Albuquerque, or you ask Tom about Surreal. Do you see the problem? So this topic just keeps on coming up, and the only reason I don't like the topic, I can't make any money on it. You guys have made it perfectly clear to me that you do not want any more Tom versus Jon talk, right? Like there's never really been a fight to die off. In my time in this sport, there has never been a fight that was red hot and did nothing but cool. I've had fights that were somewhat interesting, then they go off red hot. Or you get a bird in the hand and it starts out red hot and it just turns into a absolute forest fire, right? For these analogies. I've never seen one that was red hot, like could be record setting. Could be the fight of the year for 2025. Could be the biggest fight in heavyweight history. It was never going to touch all-time records, but it could for heavyweight history. I've never seen something nosedive like I have this. Now, one of the big things that you can turn to when you're promoting and you want attention is a lie. Because people, much like I'm doing right now, will feel this inner urge to come out and correct the statement that was a lie. And I must tell you, that is an effective strategy. It's what's brought me here today. But there's a report that Jon was offered $30 million to fight Tom, and he turned down $30 million. This is fiction. This is fiction to a very high level. And that fight all in would have paid right around $12 million. Now, one of the things that you need to understand, the only thing keeping Jon in the sport is the money. The only reason Jon will come back to the sport is the money. The only reason Jon is in the pool right now, and before you think like that's a backhanded comment to Jon, no, it's true with most guys. I mean, they call it prize fighting, but Jon is in a uniquely limited situation with his ability to go into the community and earn. It's one very hard thing about turning into a cage fighter at 19 and still being a cage fighter at 38 years old. There is no resume to speak of. I'm saying it's a big risk. This is okay, but this is still a reality. And when you understand that the only thing that keeps Jon around, right, it's not achievement anymore. It's not popularity. It's not accomplishment. It's not to go out and have experiment. experiences, and that's all a piece of the pie that everybody wants. But at some point, you're fighting for the money. So if you were to pay Jon $30 million to fight anybody, you just retired him. You just need to understand that concept. You can accept his resignation today on his accord, or you can be the one that retires him by paying him $30 million. There would simply be no realm of justification. And I know the way the story goes in the Middle East, and they came in. Even if they had, which they didn't, it is a completely fictional story, but even if they had, that offer would not be made by the UFC, because they would find out, I'm going to retire this guy. Like that wasn't a huge fight to start with. It's huge in comparison to the other fights at heavyweight, but it's not, right? This isn't Brock Lesnar versus Jon Jones, 2015. It's not anything remotely in that ballpark. No matter how good the fight turned out to be, there would have to be an anticipation ahead of time. And I'm just sharing with you, it's not there. So when you believe this level of ridiculousness, even if you were in possession of the money and it was somebody else's money, you would not even make that proposal. You for sure aren't going to get the guy back, and nobody in history, you'll never find one example, has come back and done it for less off of a victory than they did it the prior time. There are people that have had to take pay cuts. Never in history, off of a victory, has anyone in the UFC been paid less than they were in their previous fight. So if you were to come out with something ridiculous like a guarantee of $30 million, now you can do $30 million. There's no cap on pay-per-view. You could do $1 billion if the numbers work. There's literally no cap. It's unrealistic, but you could. If you were to guarantee someone $30 million, you just retired them. And with a victory, what are you going to do? You're going to have to give him that same $30 million or he's not getting in there. And now you're giving him to fight Jayden Almeida? You're giving him that to fight Surreal Part 2. You're giving that to take on Curtis Blades finally. Do you realize the level of ridiculousness? I was very stunned. And I'm all for when a reporter wants to get away with something and he's smart enough to word it and say, this is what I heard. But that's also a foolproof way of being able to be a liar. You can make any statement and then hang it on the hat of, so I was told. There's a bunch of dum-dums in the sport. Most of them. I'm just not going to let you Eagles be part of that. You're welcome.